The talk of the Dragon Ball fandom this week has been all about Gohan. Gohan, specifically stemming from Dragon Ball Super episode 52, when we saw Trunks and Gohan reunite, future Trunks, of course. And people were pretty irritated, I guess, that this may be the end of Gohan as a tough guy. And then, of course, I certainly have discussed this on my channel. I did a video called Is Dragon Ball Super Really Ruining Gohan? And the man who was with me on this video also did a video, which is basically a Dear Toriyama and Toei letter about, well, it's not just about Gohan, it's about all the other characters, but he's joining me here so we can discuss this whole Gohan thing and really clarify what's going on to the community and kind of give our opinions on it. Please welcome Mike from Laughingstock Media.
Hey guys, it's Mike here from Laughingstock Media. How's it going?
Mike from Laughingstock Media, you are the most vocal Gohan fan that actually does YouTube. I mean, it's got to be down to you and Gabby.
Probably.
Yes. Now, let's clarify some things. You watched my video and I watched your video. Now, when I saw your video, I thought it was funny because the first thing I thought of was, I don't know if Toei's ever going to see this. Plus, they don't really speak English, I don't think. At least not well enough. But I understand the motives behind the video was more so to talk to the community and kind of get their whole perspective. But
yeah,
the thing about Gohan, okay, I did my video, and basically the points that I made in my video was that from the beginning, Gohan has never really been a fighter. He's never had that bloodthirsty instinct, with the exception of the fight with Cell and also the fight with Boo. But with the fight with Boo and Cell, I feel like he was just so overwhelmed by his newfound power that he was just kind of goofing off. And as we know, Gohan fucked up. I mean, in the Cell fight, he was goofing off, and then Cell ends up, losing his perfect form, goes down to his second form, blows himself up, taking Goku in the process. And then, of course, ironically enough, in the Boo fight, Boo also blows himself up, but it was just a ruse to get Gotenks absorbed. So, can we at least agree that Gohan is not the fighter that Goku is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's actually one of the positives of Gohan's character, that he's not Goku, that he's actually his own character with his own dynamics, which is one of the reasons why he's my favorite character in the series.
Yes, and he's actually one of my favorites too, because the thing about Goku is that Goku's just this kind of, and again, if you haven't watched the series in Japanese, you may not pick up on this because the English dub does make him more of a superhero in the original Z dub. And actually, even some of the Japanese version in the movie specifically, they make him kind of like that. But Goku's pretty much a country bumpkin who's kind of a one-track minded guy. He just likes to fight. Gohan, I guess because he's got the combination human Saiyan hybrid, I'm guessing his human genes make him more, quote, human. So he doesn't, he doesn't get, that kind of thrill that Goku and Vegeta get. He's more about being a family man, and he certainly is a family man. And it's interesting because, I think that the character's actually very well written, or at least he was in the original manga, because like you said, he cares more about realistic things. Gohan is almost kind of like the viewer.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were going to add to that. Okay, never mind. So, all right. So, what is your main beef, or what do you think the community's main beef is with Gohan? Because I think a lot of people have the wrong idea about his character, but a lot of people do make some good points about who he is. What is your main beef here?
Well, I do think that in some ways Gohan is definitely kind of a avatar for certain people when it comes to, living out that world in Dragon Ball. I mean, Gohan's a nerd, everyone's a nerd nowadays, so a lot of people can relate to that whole aspect of Gohan. But I feel like one of the biggest reasons is that people in the community saw Gohan in the Cell games when he transformed into his Super Saiyan 2 state, and he was overpowering and beating up Cell. And basically at that point, the series had shifted to Gohan, focusing on him, maybe to take over the mantle, the passing of the torch from Goku. So a lot of fans who saw that kind of wanted Gohan to just be this big badass character who just beats everybody up effortlessly and, dominates. And basically the fact that he doesn't do that immediately after the Cell games makes them think that he's, kind of a bitch or kind of a pussy. And the thing is, like, just because Gohan, saved the day, just because he did what, his dad would have done in his stead, does not make him his dad all of a sudden. It doesn't suddenly make
Agreed.
him Goku.
Yes.
It makes him Gohan, just a Gohan who actually did something of relevance, a Gohan who achieved something, and a Gohan who actually utilized his power in a way that he's supposed to for the first time, who he actually let his potential come out and utilized it. But it doesn't make him Goku, and a lot of people who complain that Goku is the main character want Gohan to be like Goku. And like, if you want someone different to be the main character, don't turn someone different into the main character, with the exact same traits. I mean, that's just not how he is.
I agree, and that's the big thing. Now, the thing I think people are kind of hard on the writing of Gohan, and of course there is some bad writing, which we're going to get to here in a minute, but after the Cell game, Gohan pretty much didn't really train as hard as he should have, and he was surpassed by Goku and Vegeta. Of course, Vegeta was just training kind of, in his gravity chamber, or so it's implied, and Goku was in the other world fighting some tough guys from different, universes, or galaxies. At least that's how it was in the anime. Manga,
Yeah.
not that emphasized. But Gohan, I mean, the thing is, when you put yourself in Gohan's shoes, bro, you can't really blame him. I mean, look, you saved the Earth, and he's still pretty tough. He's still like the strongest guy who's alive throughout those 7 years, not including the guys who we haven't met yet, like the gods and things like that. He's the strongest of the Z fighters during those years. Of course, he didn't know Vegeta was going to surpass him. And it's like once you kill Cell, it's like there was no way for Gohan to have known that Majin Buu was gonna show up, or that Babidi.
Exactly.
He didn't know that. Now
Toriyama didn't even know that.
you're right. And now here's the other thing. All right, now a lot of people get on Gohan's ass because they feel like he was kind of handed I guess he was kind of, handed the mystic / ultimate form.
The power up.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Because even though I somewhat agree with that, at the same time, there are other examples throughout the series of people being handed stuff. Like, Goku handed Goten and Trunks the fusion pose. Kaio-sama taught Goku the Genki Dama, the Spirit Bomb, and the Kaioken. So it's like, I don't think Gohan getting his power unlocked is that big of an issue. Plus, Gohan already had his power unlocked in the Namek arc by Saichuru, the Grand Elder. So again, it's like, people are bitching about stuff that's kind of already happened. Like, I don't know. I always did. I'll be honest, I never liked that power unlocking thing because it contradicts what happened in the Namek arc.
Well, the thing is that every arc, Gohan's power would basically be unlocked. Like in the Saiyan arc, he was enraged, and that's how his power would come out. Then on Namek, I'm just going to unlock your power and let it come out. And then in the Cell games, his hidden power has finally come out. He could tap into it at will when he's a Super Saiyan 2. And then, he finally brings it all out in his base form as Mystic. But the thing is that people, I guess a lot of these people either didn't watch Dragon Ball or might not remember, but Goku, when he needed to fight King Piccolo, he was given a power-up immediately, which was power-up of the Super Sacred Water, which he would die if he's not pure heart, and then he got a super power-up, which allowed him to beat the powered-up Piccolo in his youthful form.
That's right. He did not train. You're right.
Oh.
No, you're right.
So a lot of people try and say that Gohan was handed it.
I will say
we have so many power ups in the series that really are just handed to people.
I mean, dude, the ritual was kind of handed. Goku could never train to hit that level. He even said it himself in the movie. But also, I do want to talk about that Piccolo thing because in the anime and the manga, it's different. In the manga, it's much, much, much more of a hand-me-down because he just gets it. Whereas in the anime, him and Yajirobe go on this cool little side quest where they have to go meet the darkness and not the rock band. They have to go meet the darkness.
Not Charlie Murphy either.
No, not that darkness. No, but yeah, in the anime they added filler that I thought made the story stronger. Now let's talk about Gohan and Dragon Ball Super. I've tried to actually see. You know what's weird about this whole situation, Mike? I have tried to defend Gohan against Gohan fans. Is that we're in a weird state here because I'm telling people I'm like listen. Gohan's character is in many ways better than Goku's because Goku is very one-dimensional And
Yeah.
I like his character, don't get me wrong, but he's very one-dimensional. Gohan at least has layers. Gohan has a deep appreciation for his family. Gohan, to me, has no real reason to train. And I hate to say this, but this is how I feel. And the series kind of goes with this. Gohan has no reason to train because Goku and Vegeta are around, and now they're friends with Beerus and Whis, and I guess they're friends with the Omni King, so really, what do you have to worry about? At this point, just be a father. And so it does kind of somewhat confuse me that people want Cell Game Gohan to come back when it doesn't make sense. It's like wanting, I mean, okay, if you're a fan of Gohan, it's like being a fan of Tien. You want that 22nd Budokai Tien to come back, but he's just not going to come back. Everybody else surpassed him. Do you think that's the issue here?
Well, I feel like when it comes down to that, I feel like one of the things, though, is that in Dragon Ball Super, what we got is that in the Resurrection F arc, when they had redone the arcs in the series, Gohan had said to Piccolo, I realize I need to continue to get stronger and stronger to protect my family. And the reason why he said that, especially to Piccolo, and the reason why he did the training in the first place, is because Piccolo died saving him.
Yes.
And Gohan, during his raging out moment, when, he had his Mystic Super Saiyan, whatever, he said, this is all my fault. This is because I didn't train. This is because I allowed my family to die. And, that is even more hammered in after Frieza blew up the planet. So Gohan at that point kind of feels out of obligation or duty. I have to become stronger just in case Goku and Vegeta and Beerus and Whis and all these characters aren't there, and I have to step up. So I feel like in that case, it makes sense for Gohan to train or at least to maintain a level of power, because you never know. Goku and Vegeta could get locked in another universe, and what happens then? What happens if somebody invades the Earth and Gohan's not ready, So I feel like in that sense, Gohan has, the ability to train because he's the strongest on Earth aside from those godly characters.
Yes. Yes.
But in terms of if Goku and Vegeta were always around, he doesn't necessarily have to. It's mostly, I guess, a just in case kind of a preemptive situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, one point you brought up, I'm not sure if you brought it up in your video or if we talked about it off air. I don't remember, but you brought up the fact that Gohan being a scholar should actually be used as a story point. Maybe Gohan being a scholar will actually help things, because rather than Gohan unlocking some because to me, I'm gonna keep it real. If Gohan unlocks some mystery power now, it's just bad writing. It makes no sense. And Gohan's character has always had kind of, it's not just him, it's all of Dragon Ball. These guys unlock this power out of nowhere sometimes, and it really is a deus ex machina. And I think if he does it now, it's just going to hurt his character even more. I think him being a scholar, I like the idea of him helping out in other ways. Maybe not getting involved in the combat, but finding out some kind of weak spot, using his brains. I like that idea. I think that could work.
I think it'd be really interesting if Gohan doesn't become the strongest, but using his mind is able to still find a way to win, or find a way to allow another person to win in the end. I suggested the idea of Gohan maybe, because we don't really know what Gohan's a scholar of. We've been watching this stuff for 20 plus years. We don't know what Gohan studies or what he's a scholar of or what he even wants to do for a living. So realistically, except for the dub where he wants to be an orthopedic or whatever. But
I don't even remember that line. That must have been the Ocean dub, right?
I think so. But the thing is that Gohan could be used to the advantage of the show and to the advantage of his character. Sure, he could still be a nerd. He could still love to study and love science. But Bulma loves to study and love science and is useful.
She's very useful. Yeah, she's very
Dr. Brief is very useful, and he shows up once a series. Oh, I'm just going to pop in. I'm going to fix Android 16. Oh, I'm going to fix the time machine. I'm going to fix Goku's space pod to make it gigantic somehow. We still don't know how that works. Why can't Gohan do that? Why can't Gohan put on, these things that augment his strength, kind of like Batman with that magical leg thing in Dark Knight Rises. There's so many different options they could use to make him supportive that they're really not taking advantage of, that I feel like other anime have done, and maybe they can look at those other anime and say, okay, it kind of works here, let's try and do something to make this character matter here.
I agree. And also, I think one thing you hit spot on that we should discuss is one of the mistakes that Super made about having Gohan say, well, after Piccolo died, I want to take things seriously. I criticized Gohan for this and the writing because I said if he really wanted to take this training seriously, he wouldn't go train with Piccolo. He would ask Whis. He would directly ask him, and people were again, I'm defending Gohan to fucking Gohan fans. They're like, oh, well, Whis would say no. First of all, how do you know he would say no? You don't know these characters. And you're writing a fictional show. These aren't even real people. Like, Whis would say no, or, oh, well, Gohan's not ready. Well, Gohan at 4 years old wasn't ready to be left in the wilderness alone, and he fucking survived. It irritates me. And then, like, the guy gets an opportunity to go compete in this fucking tournament, the Universe 6 tournament, and he dogs it to go to a conference that Videl wasn't even at. She was at the fucking tournament. A chance for him to train with Goku and Vegeta in the Room of Spirit and Time for 3 years, or maybe even just 1 year. He didn't even have to be in there the entire time. And
it's Gohan. He'd probably power up in 2 minutes in there and just walk out. Okay, you guys could do whatever you want. I unlocked my power again. Now I'm blue.
It's mind-boggling to me that I'm defending Gohan to Gohan fans. Like, but at the same time, you're right. He's over here saying that, oh, well, I should take the fight seriously now, and he never takes the fight seriously. I feel like that extra line of him saying that was not a Toriyama line. I feel like that was Toei doing some creative liberties that wound up backfiring. That's how I honestly feel. Yeah, I don't think that was Toriyama line. I'm not trying to defend Toriyama, but I don't think it was.
I mean, Toriyama, or maybe it was Toyotaro. I mean, it
was only in the anime. It was only in the anime.
Well, in the manga, they do make the statement, that you point out in your video of Gohan, does have the most potential. So it seems like Toriyama did want to kind of put him over a little bit, but then he was like, oh, he doesn't want to fight. So he still kind of had that general idea, I guess, that they're conveying in the anime now. But Toei, if Toei did add those lines, it really is bad writing, in my opinion, because it gives all of us the false impression that they're developing Gohan's character again, giving him another arc that, he's going to be more useful. And then all of a sudden they tell us Gohan's not really a martial artist anymore. So it seems incredibly hypocritical. And that was one of my biggest issues, because honestly, if they had never had Gohan do the scenes and then do the training and then say, I want to test my might against, these fighters, and want to be helpful, and then do what they did in the Trunks arc, I wouldn't have really had an issue, because it would still basically be in line with what Gohan was doing beforehand. I would still want Gohan to be relevant, but I wouldn't have as big of an issue as I do now, because Toei might have added some lines and added a scene with Gohan training and making Piccolo look really strong as a result, and then Gohan doesn't do anything, a year later maybe. I don't even know when this is supposed to take place.
Yeah, no, it is. That's a whole other issue. I just feel like, I think Gohan's actually, other than that part that you're talking about where he's like kind of, I mean, it's like, is it the writer or is it the Gohan character? Are they trying to get us to be annoyed with this guy? That's the big question. Are they trying to annoy us? But this whole idea of Gohan being the next hero again, it's just not going to happen. It's already been the case at this point. He's just not who he used to be. And the entire idea behind Dragon Ball Super Episode 52 was to tell us that Trunks is basically the audience. Gohan is at peace, being a husband, a father. That's what he loves. He cares about that more than fighting. Maybe the entire twist at the end of this arc is that Trunks and Mai are going to hook up. Future Mai, not the kid, hopefully. The future Mai are going to hook up, and maybe he'll have a family with her. And maybe that'll be his story. Maybe he'll think about Gohan and say, you know what? Maybe I want to start a family. Not everybody can be fighting obsessed like Goku and Vegeta. Anyways, check out Laughing Stock Media's video that he wrote, a letter to Toriyama. I also have a video about Gohan. Do you have any other things, anything else you want to say?
I just hope that in the future Dragon Ball Super decides to utilize some of these characters in more relevant ways, so that these issues won't really even happen. And I think that some fans on both sides should probably actually reflect upon what's going on and not try and be so rabid and just attack everyone. I mean, like, it's at the end of the day, it's a fictional show, so let's not go too crazy about it.
Well, that's a whole different thing, but you're right, and it's also one of those things where it's just understand Gohan's character. He's not Goku, and that's the important thing you have to understand. Thanks, Mike, and we'll talk to y'all later.
See ya.